96.5 The Fox, the new evolution of classic rock, free beer, hot wings every weekday morning, and more great stand-up comedy coming to Bismarck in just a few days. August 24th, Dakota Stage. We are happy to welcome Todd Barry, and Todd Barry joining us on the phone. And Todd, is this going to be your first time in North Dakota?
No, actually, it'll be my third time. In 2001, there was a club in Grand Forks, North Dakota, where I did like 5 or 6 shows because they need 5 or 6 shows to get all my Grand Forks fans in to accommodate them.
Did they bust them in from other places?
I don't know where they got them. I don't know where they got them, but it was a fun, different kind of week. And then a few years after that, I did one show in Fargo.
And now you've got 3 actually in the Dakotas. You've got 1 in South Dakota and then 2 in North Dakota. So you're making the Dakota trip.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone has ever done as much Dakota touring as I have, but I'm happy to do it.
It's going to be exciting. August 24th, Dakota Stage. Now, I think a lot of people recently, kind of the press that you've gotten has been talking about your recently released special, Crowd Work, where you basically go on stage with no planned material. Where did your idea to do that come from?
Well, I'd released a regular special where I told jokes for the most part, and then I was like, I didn't know whether I could tour with that again because I didn't know if I could repeat jokes from the special, even though you can actually. But and I was like, why don't I do a crowd work tour? And I was kind of joking to myself, and then I booked one, and I booked another. Yeah, so I filmed the second tour, and that's what the crowd work tour film is. It's on Louis C.K.'s website.
Now, how intimidating is it walking out on stage each night, not knowing how or where the show is going to go? I mean, normally you have a prepared kind of way you're going to present the show. With the crowd work tour, you just walk out and go.
Yeah, you kind of, I was lucky enough to get really nice audiences who were into it, and they weren't really trying to mess up the show or anything, so I kind of would just walk out, and there's enough people with, weird jobs and interesting stories. I mean, there's some people who aren't interesting, but you move past them until you find someone who is interesting.
I was going to ask, what was the reaction from the audience? Because obviously you've had, Comedy Central specials. People have heard your bits before, so there are probably people in the crowd who go out expecting to kind of see what they've seen on TV. So what was the crowd's reaction? Did they know they were going to a crowd work show?
Yeah, I tried to really, ahead of time really get it out there that this is what was going to happen, and then I reinforced that, I'd have the person going on before me mention that. So they knew what they were in for the most part.
Do you plan on doing this again? Is there a thought that maybe you'll take this out on the road again?
I just did it. I did what I called the final crowd work tour, and then like weeks after that I went and did some crowd work shows in Montreal. I would do it again if the mood strikes me and if there's a demand for it, but I'm trying to get more material together, so that's what I'll be doing in Bismarck. And, I'll do some crowd work. I always end up doing it anyway.
Once again, joined on the phone by Todd Barry, August 24th at Dakota Stage. Tickets on sale right now, jadepresents.com. You mentioned Louis C.K. earlier, of course, releasing the crowd work special on his website. How important was it to have him kind of support you?
Oh, I don't think I could have done it without him. I could have written to like someone who could pay for it, but when it's a friend and it's just like, all right, I'll do this, and you don't have to. There's not like meetings that have to happen or a chain of command to sign off on it. And also, just if you go to his website, he's like one of the most famous comedians. Basically, the first thing you see is an ad, my special. So I've definitely sold more copies because he's been involved, and he also paid for it, the whole special. So. But I paid him back.
Perfect. Well, then it all worked out. You don't owe him anything. You don't have to do extra spots on Louis or anything like that?
No, I don't have to do his laundry or anything. But, yeah, it did work out.
Perfect. And you were actually one of only, I think, 2 other comedians that Louis actually put your stuff up on his site. Usually it's him promoting his own stuff, but he took yours and financed it and put it out there for people to get for just $5.
Yeah, I was really lucky. It was also just it happened with kind of, he's been a friend of mine for a long time, but it happened where he just happened to call me just with what's going on. And I started telling him, I might be writing to someone to try to get them to pay for this idea I have for his tour. And he just kept asking me questions, and he was just like, would you let me do this? I was like, yeah. So it was just an impulsive act on his part, and it worked out.
I was going to say, it's definitely got to be nice to have, one of the biggest comedians say, hey, is it cool if I do this with you?
Yeah, is it cool if I pay for this and put it on my much more popular website? Then I have to go, yes, that I'm all right with that.
Go check out Louis C.K.'s website. Pick up Todd Barry's special crowd work, just $5. Of course, Todd Barry has a website as well, toddbarry.com. Now, some people may not know you from the stand-up, but they might recognize you when they come to Dakota Stage from a lot of the work you've done. I mean, you've been on TV, Louis, Flight of the Conchords. You had a pretty big role in The Wrestler. What do you think has been your favorite role outside of doing the stand-up stuff? What has been your favorite thing to do so far?
Oh, gosh, it's hard to, I mean, all those three things are, I mean, The Wrestler was the most unusual thing I've done, just because it was kind of a serious film, and it wasn't like packed with comedians, or really, there wasn't really a lot of people in that cast to begin with. So it was like a nice, unusual thing. And then I went to I went to the Venice Film Festival with it. I mean, I paid my own way, but I went, and so I got to experience being a mini movie star for a few days.
How did you get involved with The Wrestler? I mean, there wasn't a lot of people in that film, and then all of a sudden, Todd Barry, comedian, is there.
Right. I know Darren Aronofsky, the director. I've known him a while. I don't even know how I met him. I think through other people. And I just ran into him at a restaurant. I was like eating alone, and he was having some meeting, and he walked by me and goes, "I might have something for you." And then I never heard anything from him. And then I was like, I should email him. I didn't want to be too desperate, but I did write to him a few weeks later. I was like, "Hey, you mentioned you might have something for me. I don't know if you were joking or whatever." And then he just said, "You want to do this part?" And then that's pretty much it.
It kind of sounds like you've always been kind of a right place, right time. Louis C.K. calls to chat, and he says, "Hey, I'll finance this." Darren Aronofsky's having a meeting. You're eating alone. Yeah. He just says, "Hey, I might have something for you." It sounds like you just happen to be in the right place at the right time all the time.
Right, to ride someone's coattails. I get it. No, that's certainly luck, but I mean, I think you also make your own luck, because I mean, he wanted me for that thing anyway, so he probably would have tracked me down. But, yeah, I know what you're saying.
Todd Barry, once again, coming to Dakota Stage August 24th, toddbarry.com. For more information, again, you can get his stand-up special, Crowd Work, on Louis C.K.'s website. Big news, of course, early this week with the passing of Robin Williams, and every comedian kind of came out with a story about Robin. I mean, he would just show up to comedy clubs. He would, just pop up in certain places. Do you have a Robin Williams story?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy who I've met a number of times, and I was lucky enough to, I think I was emceeing one night at a club on the Upper West Side, and he was going to do an unannounced drop-in set. So the audience had no idea. So I got to it, so, and our next act, you may know him, it's like a 140-seat club, and it's please welcome Robin Williams. And then there's that moment of, like, disbelief where they don't even applaud because they think you're joking, and then he walks out, and it's just like nothing I'd ever heard before.
What was it like being in the club that night? I mean, how crazy was it once they realized, oh, wow, he is here?
Yeah, they tend to, I mean, that happens a lot in New York with people like, Chris Rock and Seinfeld and Louis coming on stage sort of unannounced. Yeah, I mean, people, it's really exciting because they just lose their minds because they're just, they paid $15 for a ticket and seeing a bunch of people they haven't heard of for the most part, and then, like, the most famous comedian in the world walks up there. So they lose their minds, and it's really kind of exciting because it hits a level of applause and excitement that you don't always get. Even though it's not for me, it felt good.
Well, hopefully when you get here August 24th, maybe we can get the crowd a little out of their minds at Dakota Stage.
Yeah, I hope so. I've never been to that place. Is it a nice place?
It is. Yeah, we've had a lot of comedians come through. I believe that you may be the biggest comedian that's come through so far.
All righty.
So we got to get the crowd packed and pumped up for the show.
I think they will be pumped up.
What can we expect on August 24th, Todd?
What can you expect? Oh, my gosh. A lot of physical comedy, a lot of backflips, just pyro, all the things. It's like a Kiss show with a comedian.
Not a show you want to miss. Dakota Stage, August 24th. Tickets on sale again right now at jadepresents.com. Todd Barry will be in town in Bismarck making the Dakota tour here in a week or so.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Once again, Todd Barry, Dakota Stage, August 24th. Todd, thanks so much for taking the time to call in.
Thanks for talking to me. I'll see you soon.